So we are analyzing now Act 3. Yes, remember that Act 3 is the climax of the play. Yes, when it comes to the structure, yes, remember the structure what we have seen in class. It's actually the climax, the most dramatic time of the play. Okay, so Solanio and Salarino are having a conversation. Yes, it says now what news on the Rialto, Act 3, Scene 1. Yes, this is the main plot, the bond plot, okay, the contract plot. And they are going to start talking about rumors that say that Antonio's ships have had different problems, yes, and that he has lost all his ships in the ocean, yes. For example, let me see. Yet this is line 2. Why? Yet it lives there unchecked. So this is a rumor that Antonio has a ship of rich landing wrecked on the narrow seas. Yes, so this is the rumor. And then if you go to line 7, Solanio says, I would she were as lying a gossip in that as ever napped ginger or made her neighbors believe she wept for the death of a third husband. So of course these are things that according to them women are talking about, and these women, there is a very fixed stereotype here about women who are not very reliable, the ones that are sharing these rumors about Antonio's ships, okay? And if you go to line 14, towards the middle, he says, why? The end is he has lost a ship. I would, it might prove the end of his losses. So I would, usually the word would in Shakespeare means wish. So I wish it might prove the end of his losses. I wish that he will only lose one ship and no more than that. Remember that Antonio had several ships on the ocean, yes? And then he says, let me say amen betimes, Solanio says, yes? Lest the devil cross my prayer, for here he comes in the likeness of a Jew. So this is a terrible phrase that, but it can help us see how this concept of how English people hated foreigners can be seen in this intercultural text. Yes, Solanio says, let me say amen twice, not unless that the devil cross my prayer. So let me say amen. Yes, let me say amen to what you have just said, that he will only lose one ship, unless the devil crosses my way. So he's afraid that the devil will cross his way. How? In the likeness of a Jew. So they are calling the Jew, Shylock, or the devil, okay? Because they know that Shylock must be very excited with this news. And now it's when Shylock enters, and we're going to listen to this, and then we are going to analyze it together. So allow me to share my screen with you. We listen as from how now, Shylock, what news among the merchants. We're going to listen only to a few words, okay?
Shylock, you knew none so well as you of my daughter's flight.
That's certain. Wings she flew withal.
And Shylock, for his own part, knew the bird was fledged, and then it is the complexion of them all to leave the dam.
She is damned for it.
That's certain, if the devil may be her judge.
My own flesh and blood to rebel.
Out upon it, old carrion! Rebels it at these years?
I say my daughter is my flesh and my blood.
There is more difference between thy flesh and hers than between jet and ivory, more between your bloods than there is between red wine and Rhenish. But tell us, do you hear whether Antonio have had any loss at sea or no?
There I have another bad match, a bankrupt, a prodigal, who dare scarce show his head on the Rialto, a beggar that used to come so smug upon the mart. Let him look to his bond. He was wont to call me usurer. Let him look to his bond. He was wont to lend money for a Christian courtesy. Let him look to his bond.
Why, I am sure if he forfeit, thou wilt not take his flesh. What's that good for?
Okay, up to here. Let me say a few things about what he has said. So what's the thing that when he's asked how he's feeling, when Shylock is asked how he's feeling, the first thing that he says is that he's not okay. Why? Because Jessica has left. Yes, she has eloped. Yes, with Lorenzo. Okay, so he says, you knew. So he is accusing them. You knew what Jessica was going to do. You knew none so well as you of my daughter's flight. So you are asking me how I am feeling, but you knew, and you know that I'm not okay because she has left. Yes. And of course they agree with him, and then Solanio makes a joke about or makes a comment of saying that it's the natural thing for a daughter to leave her house. And Shylock says, this is line 26, he says, she's damned for it. So this is a terrible phrase for a father to say about his daughter, no matter what she has done. Yes, she is damned for it. Terrible. Yes. That's certain if the devil may be her judge. So she will be damned if the devil is her judge, meaning that God is not judging her, yes, but he is judging her. Shylock is judging her. So depending on the point of view, yes, she may be judged or not. My own flesh and blood to rebel. So my own flesh and blood, yes, my own daughter to rebel against me. And well, Solanio here makes a double sense joke that we are not going to say what the joke is about. Yes. And then so Salarino, some lines afterwards, if you go to line 33, he says, but tell us, do you hear whether Antonio have had any loss at sea or not? And Shylock says, there I have another bad match. So he's upset because he has heard about Antonio losing his ships, we don't know yet, yes. And he's upset because knowing this, he knows that he will not have the money to return it to him, yes. A bankrupt, a prodigal, a waster, who dare scarce show his head on the Rialto, a beggar that was used to come so smug upon the march. Let him look to his bond, so let him see the contract. So remember when he said, in just a formality, let us sign this contract. So it was not just a formality, okay? It was not just a formality at all, yes, at all. Now that he has lost his money, he says, let him look to his bond. He was wont to call me usurer. So he used to insult me because of my job as a usurer, as someone who lends money. Let him look to his bond. And again, the use of repetition in Shylock's discourse, because every time that Shylock speaks, we see that he uses a lot of repetition. He was wont to lend money for a Christian courtesy. Let him look to his bond. And Salarino says, well, I am sure if he forfeit, if he is not able to pay back, you will not take his flesh. What's that good for? So for Salarino, it doesn't make sense that he would actually want a pound of flesh of Antonio's body, but he's not in Shylock's place. Yes, you know that Shylock wants revenge, that he has been treated so unfairly in the past. Yes, he's so filled with rage, with hatred, with anger towards Antonio, that he's willing to do anything. Yes, and let us see his reply and Shylock's reply, whether he will revenge or not, whether he will take the pound of flesh, because why would you want a pound of flesh of a human being? Well, the answer is simple, for revenge in this case, yes, but let us see what he said.
To bait fish withal. If it will feed nothing else, it will my revenge. He hath disgraced me, and hindered me 500,000, laughed at my losses, mocked at my gains, scorned my nation, thwarted my bargains, cooled my friends, heated mine enemies. And what is reason? I am a Jew. Hath not a Jew eyes? Hath not a Jew hands, organs, dimensions, senses, affections, passions? Fed with the same food, hurt with the same weapons, subject to the same diseases, healed by the same means, warmed and cooled by the same winter and summer as a Christian is. If you prick us, do we not bleed? If you tickle us, do we not laugh? If you poison us, do we not die? And if you wrong us, shall we not revenge? If we are like you in the rest, we will resemble you in that. If a Jew wrong a Christian, what is his humility? Revenge. If a Christian wrong a Jew, what should his sufferance be by Christian example? Why, revenge. The villainy you teach me I will execute, and it shall go hard, but I will better the instruction.
Okay, so this is one of my favorite parts of the play. One of the main themes of the Merchant of Venice is Christians versus Jews, yes. And here we see, because Shylock is always compared to a beast, to an animal, to the devil, but here he places himself in the place of a human being, the place that all human beings belong to, right? Whether, no matter what religion you belong to, if you are a human being, you are a human being. Yes, that shouldn't be the reason why someone decides to hate you. I hope that makes sense, but we can continue to discuss it in class. Yes, so Shylock is trying to present this idea that he is as human as any other Christian may be. Yes, he says, so why do you want a pound of flesh? And he's an evil character, that's for sure. Yes, we don't approve what he's doing. He says to bait fish withal. So I would use it to attract fish, like he would use the pieces of his flesh, of Antonio's flesh, to catch fish. Yes. If it will feed nothing else, it will feed my revenge. So if this wouldn't feed me or the fish, yes, it will feed my revenge. So if there is one key word to why he's doing this, is revenge. That is the word. He has disgraced me. He has insulted me. Who is he? Antonio, yes, and hindered me 500,000. And he has stopped me from making 500,000, laughed at my losses, mocked at my gains, scorned my nation. He has insulted my nation, thwarted my bargains. Yes, he has stopped me from, or he has been trying to stop my business. Yes, because one of the things that Shylock says about Antonio in previous pages or in previous sections of the play is that Antonio has been lending money to people. And by doing this, by lending money without charging people with any interest, this was for Shylock, this meant for Shylock the fact that he would lose several clients, yes, because people would prefer, yes, taking money without then paying the interest than taking money from a Jew, and then you had to pay with such a high interest that it would be impossible. So he accuses him, and he has accused him throughout the whole play of being the one that was stealing clients from him. Yes. So he has a whole list of bad things that Antonio has done against him. He has cooled my friends. He has turned my friends against me, heated my enemies. So he has given my enemies more reasons to hate me. And what's his reason? What is Antonio's reason for hating Shylock so much? He's a Jew. He's a foreigner. Okay, and this is part of the culture. We cannot judge him because this happened 400 years ago. Okay, and this is fiction. Okay, so we just contemplate it and try to learn from it. Yes, remembering that this happened 400 years ago. Okay, and now Shylock is going to provide a speech. Yes, that contains at least 10 questions. All of them are rhetorical. What does it mean that they are rhetorical? That they don't have, they are not meant to be answered. Yes, they are self-answered. Okay. Has not a Jew eyes? Has not a Jew hands, organs, dimensions, human being dimensions? Senses, the 5 senses that we know, affections, passions, and the answer is obvious. Okay, the answer is yes, of course, they have all of that, just like you and me. Yes, fed with the same food. Are they given? They are given the same food. Hurt with the same weapons. Subject to the same diseases. Healed by the same means. Warmed and cooled by the same winter and summer as a Christian is? If you prick us, if you hurt us, do we not bleed? If you tickle us, do we not laugh? If you poison us, do we not die? And if you wrong us, shall we not revenge? So he makes a whole list of questions that are very obvious. The answer is very obvious. And then he includes this question in the middle. Yes, because if for any other person in England at that time, this would have happened to them, if they were treated in the way that Shylock was treated, anyone would have been entitled to take revenge against the other. So what he's saying is, if you treat us badly, should we not revenge? Should we just watch as you treat us as you wish? Yes. If we are like you in the rest, so if we are as humans, as you are, if we share the same nature, yes, we will resemble you in that. If a Jew wrong a Christian, what is his humility? So if a Jew makes something wrong against a Christian, what's the price? Revenge. So if a Christian wrongs a Jew, what should be the price? What's the difference between a Christian and a Jew? A Jew and a Christian. This is the question that he's asking. If we are all human beings, if we all feel the same things, yes, if we feel hurt and we want to take revenge, and if Christians take revenge, why can't a Jew take revenge? Yes. And he says, if a Christian wrong a Jew, what should his sufferance, his punishment be by Christian example? Well, revenge. The villainy you teach me, I will execute. And this is terrible. He's saying, you have taught me to be evil, so now I will be evil with you. This is the language that you have taught me. You have taught me to be evil. You have taught me to seek revenge, and now I have the opportunity. So why wouldn't I take it? Yes. And it shall go hard, but I will better the instruction, meaning, and I'm going to be much better than the teachers I have had. Yes. So he has been wishing that this could happen all the time. Yes, because he knew that this could be one of the possibilities, that he would lose his money, and for Shylock, this is the perfect opportunity to revenge. Yes, so terrible. Well, Solarino and Salanio leave, yes, And then Shylock starts talking with Tubal, yes, and they would start talking about Jessica, yes, and they will talk about Jessica, and they would also talk about Antonio. I will only read a few phrases that I find very interesting. If you go to line 69 or 68 towards the middle, 2,000 ducats in that, another precious jewels. So this is what Jessica has stolen. Yes, I would, remember, would in Shakespeare usually means wish. I wish my daughter were dead at my foot, and the jewels in her ear. Would she were here at my foot, and the ducats in her coffin. So this is terrible, because he's saying, I wish my daughter was dead, with all the jewels that she has taken from me here in her casket, as if she were in her own funeral. So this is terrible, yes? And he is lamenting, he's so sad about Jessica that he almost can't enjoy what is happening with Antonio, yes? In fact, he mentions what happened with Antonio to Tubal, and Tubal says, yes, other men have ill luck too. Other people also have bad luck. Antonio, as I heard, in Genoa, yes? And Shylock quickly says, what? Ill luck? Because you know that Shylock sometimes needs to repeat things several times. And they talk about these ships that he has lost, yes? And when Tubal tells him, yes, he has lost an argosy, a merchant ship, castaway coming from Tripolis, Shylock says, I thank God. Is it true? Remember the use of repetition in his language, yes? And then if you go to line 91, he says, I am very glad of it. So he's very glad that Antonio has lost his ships. I'll plague him, I torture him, I'm glad of it. Of course, he's going to take revenge, so this is the perfect situation for him, yes? One of these they are talking about a ring that Jessica stole from him, and Tubal reminds him in line 97, but Antonio is certainly undone, is ruined. Yes, nay, that's true, that very true. Go, Tubal, fee me an officer, bespeak him a fortnight before. I will have the heart of him if he forfeit. For were he out of Venice, I can make what merchandise I will. Go, Tubal, and meet me at our synagogue. Go, good Tubal, at our synagogue. So what he's saying here is that he will make him pay the forfeit, that he will have to pay the interest. Of what they had agreed in the contract was that he had to, that if he wouldn't be able to pay for what he has taken, he would have to pay with a pound of flesh from his body, yes, from whichever part Shylock would desire. And of course, he will want his heart, yes, and we will see if that's possible, okay? So we are going to stop here with the analysis of this thing.